Alright guys, what's going on? It's Noscope here. We are finally back on the channel, finally back with a new video. And this one's a bit special. Today we are going to do a how to snipe on Warface type video. Something like that. Basically, I've just been contacted from a few people, a good amount of people actually, on basically how to snipe. Some people have asked me to teach them. So I was like, you know what? Sounds like a good idea for a video, so I'll just make a video on it. So basically, if you already know how to snipe in Warface and other games like COD, Battlefield, this video isn't for you. You could learn something from it, and you cannot. I don't know, but it's more preferably for the people who literally cannot pick up a sniper rifle and get a kill with it. That's literally all it is. I'm just gonna go over the things that I do, like the basics that make me hit my shots. Alright, so it's a couple things to incorporate when sniping in this game and pretty much any other game. So you have sensitivity. That sensitivity is pretty important. You have, which I think is the most important, is centering. That's basically how you're gonna hit most of your shots. And then you have the 4 different types of shots. So then you have quickscoping, which I'm sure most people know about. Hardscoping, which anybody who literally has touched any first-person shooter game should know about. Dragscoping, and then you have Noscope. Now, I'll be touching up on all of these things in this video as much as possible, and see if I can explain it in a way everybody can understand. That way, everybody knows what they're doing, everybody knows what I'm talking about. So the first thing I'm going to touch up on is centering, which I do think is the absolute most important thing that when it comes to sniping. So basically centering is when you're trying to get the enemy into the middle of your crosshairs the best that you possibly can, or into the middle of your screen the best you possibly can. So this works with any crosshair that you select in Warface. So the main thing that you're focusing on is that little white dot in the middle of those crosshairs. You want to try to get the enemy in that area as best as you possibly can. That will make your shots at least 50% easier to hit. That's literally half the work done for you there. It is extremely important to do that. So when you scope in, your reticule or your scope is literally going to be on that target. Because in this game, when you scope in, your scope or your reticule is literally going to be where that dot is going to go in the game. Now, another thing to add on top of that is sensitivity. Sensitivity is also a factor in this game that it does help with sniping. It is pretty important to sniping. It is not the most important thing, but it is definitely on the list. Like, it's definitely something that you do need to adjust to give yourself, I guess you could say, give yourself an edge in the game. Because with that, it can pretty much depend on you turning around as somebody's coming up behind you, or to help if you gotta drag your scope across the screen if you're trying to do a drag scope, like we'll talk about later in the video. You'll see, like, what I'm doing now, at the end of that clip, I pretty much just snap to that last guy. You can see how I'm turning him pretty fast as well. That is all the things that sensitivity will give you the ability to do. I'll put my sensitivity on the screen in a second just to show you guys what I've been running. So to explain this in just a few words, I am running a 10-10 on my inner and outer dead zone, a 17-17 for yaw and pitch speed, and all that is just fancy names for horizontal and vertical. And this one's also pretty important, the yaw acceleration. So basically what that gives you is when you turn or move your analog stick all the way to where it can't be moved anymore, it's going to increase the speed of which you do that. So you're still going to get your normal 17 speed going from left to right if you slightly move it, but if you move it all the way, it'll just give you that increased speed to, I guess, drag your shot across the screen, do whatever you got to do. My pitch acceleration, which is like the up and down, I left that at 2 because I don't find myself having to go up and down too much, and my acceleration time being at 7 is almost the same thing as yaw acceleration, but it just gives me more speed when it comes to moving inside the scope with my right analog stick. And the whole right hand side of the screen you saw earlier, I have not touched that, so you guys can pretty much leave that alone if you want to. But like I said, just mess around with those settings and see what works for you. Just mess around with what you like for the settings and just see what works for you. Alright, so let's get into the first shots of the game. First we'll talk about the Quickscope, which is almost pretty self-explanatory, but again, some people live on a rock and don't know what this is. So, all you're really gonna do is, as soon as you aim into your scope, you're gonna click shoot. You do want to center first, obviously, but like I said, once you aim into the scope, you're gonna click shoot. But you have to also keep in mind, in this game, there is a slight delay when shooting. So if you played it MW2 or MW3, maybe Black Ops 2, you could do it with the DSR a little bit out here. But you could do something called a black scope, basically meaning when you, as soon as you scope in, before you even look inside the scope, you can shoot somebody and your bullet will still go to wherever you're looking. That is not the case in this game. Your bullet will not go where you're looking if you try to do this in this game. As you can see, I'm trying to do it now, and it's literally not going where I want it to go. So you will miss each time. However, some sniper rifles do have faster aim ADS times. For example, like the Warface T5000, the Stair Scout, and this gun, the Bushmaster here. They will also give you that increased ADS speed. That's just by default. Now you definitely want to have the 5 times fast scope on there, because that will basically enhance your quickscope capabilities by like 1,000. Like, it's literally going to be over 9,000 when you do that. But you literally should always have that equipped on your sniper rifle. Me personally, I literally only use that scope. However, some sniper rifles do come with their own custom scope, like this one I'm using now. The AT308 has its own fast scope, so does the AX308. Has its own fast scope. The Remington MSR also has its own fast scope. So the fast scope is very imperative to quick scoping in this game, because like I said, that's gonna aim down faster than any other sniper rifle attachment in the game. So you definitely want to have that equipped literally all the time on your sniper rifle, like basically as much as possible, so you can pull out those quick scopes. Alright, so the next shot we are going to be talking about is the Hardscope. This part everyone is pretty familiar with, so all you're really going to do is ADS and basically take your time trying to get that target into your scope reticule and then hit shoot. This is nothing compared to a quick scope, and this is something that you're going to be using probably the most. You're probably going to be finding yourself hardscoping the most in this game. Unless you're trying to be some type of phase member, then you're going to be quickscoping all the time. Some people do that, but if you're starting, this is the one you're going to find yourself doing a lot. Now, when you're doing this, you do not want to be moving, you want to be standing still. Moving will throw your shot off, so you definitely want to be like holding your position, like I said, holding that scope, and
I'm down behind the box,
trying to get that target into the middle of your reticule as best as possible. So basically, it ensures that you get your kill whenever you do need it. You know, if you're the last one in rank, and all you have is a sniper rifle, and you see somebody coming down some alleyway or something, this is the shot that you actually do want to take. So like I said, you're going to be finding yourself doing this a lot. Alright, and the next shot we have is a pretty interesting one. This one is not as consistent as the Quickscope or the Hardscope, but it is very situational. This is the Dragscope. So basically, all you're going to do is, if you don't have time to scope in, say if somebody's jumping around the corner, you don't have time to center that in, scope in on his body, all you're going to really do is then scope in as fast as you can, and then you're gonna flick or drag your scope across the screen to that target and try to hit them as best as you can. Now, this is very easily said than done. This one is not something that you're gonna use a lot, but it is something that you should incorporate into your gameplay. So most people do try to switch to their secondary, but that's not always gonna work. I'll tell you that right now. That's not always going to work. Some secondaries have a slower switch time than others. So you're gonna be finding yourself doing this just a little bit. So like I said, all you're gonna do is drag your scope across the screen and try to hit that target as you see in the videos above. Alright, and last but not least, the last shot we have is the Noscope. And this is probably the shot you're going to be taking the least. You're not going to miss Noscoping that much. This is, again, a very situational shot. So all you're really going to do is try to line up the target within your entire crosshair, so in the middle of your screen as well, and you do want to try to get them within the circle of your crosshairs, or whatever type of crosshair you have. It can differ a little bit, but you just want to try to get them in the middle as close as possible, and make sure that they're in a very, very close range before you even do that. Because, like I said, this is a very inconsistent shot. You're not going to be finding them hitting all the time. So, like I said, you want them to be extremely, extremely close before you even take it. And on top of that, there are a couple of factors in the game that can make it better, being as though there's no laser sight in the game that you can throw on, like in Call of Duty, one of your sniper rifles, that makes your hip fire spread tighter. So you have to do other things, like crouching. Crouching will make your hip fire spread tighter, as well as sliding. Sliding will do the same exact thing, making your hip fire spread tighter. Just the same. They both do the same. So those are the two things that you have to try to do as much as possible. Sometimes people forget, but you got to try to keep in mind, just to keep your crosshairs tight, you know, just so you ensure yourself that you get that kill with that Noscope. I mean, even though there's no guarantee, you gotta do what you gotta do to compensate for the terrible hip fire spread in this game. Alright, so other than that, I believe that is all I have, or all I know that I can cover at the moment. I pretty much touched on everything when it comes to the first shots, sensitivity, and centering. Like I said, centering is extremely important, but let me also throw some other things in there. So let me tell you this right now, this is not going to happen overnight, especially if you're just now starting to snipe. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen overnight. It does take a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of consistency, because when I first started playing this, I wasn't, you know, hitting all these crazy shots. I did just basically practice it all out. Like, I waited it out, I toughed it out, like, through all the rage and whatever. What else? I do want to let you guys know also, there's no hold breath in this game. If you haven't noticed already, there's no hold breath. So I do highly recommend standing still when you are shooting. Definitely stand still when you take a shot. On top of that, when you do take a shot, like after you shoot, you want to run or take cover. So the whole thing of aiming, shooting, and running. Aim, shoot, run. And also, when it comes to practice, the best place I think to practice this is PvE. As you can see right now, like, PvE is the best place to practice all of your Dragscopes, Quickscopes, Hardscopes, whatever you want to practice. You know, you don't gotta worry about stats, you don't gotta worry about people camping, KD, none of that type of stuff. PvE is definitely a good place to practice all of your shooting, anything that has to do with sniping. PvE is probably, if not the best place to practice, in my opinion. Other than that, I think that is it. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, comment down below. Most of you, I'm sure, are going to watch this, know me, so you guys can message me. I'll definitely answer. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Like I said, comment down below if you have any questions.